Time to wake up. It's Saturday morning. Find some milk and cereal. Grab a bowl and spoon. No, a bigger spoon. Head to the living room and take a seat on the floor while Joseph and Chris present to you Saturday Morning Cartoon!
Ho, 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 everybody, and welcome to Cartoon Boom! This is a show where we wake up with the Saturday morning sun, popped on the floor with a big bowl of sugary cereal, and watch our favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Christmas. I'm Chris.
And this morning, we watched The Polar Express! Also, Merry Christmas / Happy Holidays / Happy Saturday for anybody who doesn't celebrate anything.
Yeah.
Just happy day to everyone.
We give a happy Hanukkah, a happy Kwanzaa, happy Boxing Day, Merry, as I said, Christmas. You can thank me later for that one. Are there any other holidays at this time that I'm missing?
I'm expressing my ignorance by saying I don't know. Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and Christmas are pretty much my staple as far as what I know of these holidays.
Don't you ever forget about Boxing Day, sir.
Well, I don't even know what that is. Explain that to me.
Here, let me Wikipedia it because I don't remember it.
Okay.
It's celebrated the day after Christmas. It occurs on the second day of Christmastide. It originated in the United Kingdom.
Okay, so is it about like boxing, like the punching, boxing, like putting stuff in boxes or taking things out of boxes? Or is it about the aftermath of Christmas where you have to find a place for all the boxes you got?
You know, I feel like at this point you can make it what you want.
Okay.
It was about giving money and gifts to people in need. So like,
oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a much better message. I thought we were going to have to throw down some fisticuffs
I know
or something.
that would be a little bit more fun.
Too.
But do you think that anyone's ever themed like a boxing event on Boxing Day? Because I feel like that's something that America would definitely do.
If not, then huge missed opportunity.
Yeah, I know Americans, I don't think, being American, we've never celebrated Boxing Day, but I feel like that's something that as a culture, our country would be all over if they knew about it. They'd be like, oh my goodness, why have we not missed this opportunity to celebrate more sports? Because that's what we're about.
Oh, absolutely. Anyway, moving on. Who was this suggested by?
This was suggested to us by JohnCulisart and SaraGeorgeMusic on Twitch. So thank you.
Yes, thank you both. The Polar Express is a 2004 American computer-animated Christmas musical fantasy adventure.
Say that all again.
Words. Film. Christmas musical fantasy adventure.
Woo!
Film co-written and directed by Robert Zemeckis, based on the 1985 children's book of the same name by Chris Van Allsburg, who also served as one of the executive producers.
There we go.
So the original book actually came out the year that we were born.
Oh my goodness.
Which dates us a lot.
Yeah. That hurts a bit.
So Polar Express, like I said, was released in 2004. The screenplay was by Robert Zemeckis and William Broyles Jr., directed by Robert Zemeckis, produced by Steve Starkey, Robert Zemeckis, Gary Goetzman, and William Tytler. The production companies were Castle Rock Entertainment, Shangri-La Entertainment, Image Movers, Playtone, and Golden Mean Productions, and this was distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures. So for a short synopsis, on Christmas Eve, a young boy embarks on a magical adventure to the North Pole on the Polar Express while learning about friendship, bravery, and the spirit of Christmas.
There we go. I mean, that explains it. I like that you say a young boy too, because we never learned this boy's name. We don't know.
No, he's Hero Boy. But yes. I'll go into a little bit more detail in some of the marshmallows. But before that, who are some of the actors who played in this movie?
Well, said Hero Boy that you were just talking about was voiced by Daryl Sabara, who was also the voice of Rex from Generator Rex, Rhino in Ultimate Spider-Man, and did various voices in the Ben 10 series. The voice of the conductor, the father, the hobo, the Scrooge puppet, and Santa Claus were all done by Tom Hanks, who also did motion capture for like almost every character in this film. Like he did mocap for tons of characters. It's crazy, including the hero boy. The hero girl, because we don't name anybody in this movie, was voiced by Nona Gay, who also played the role of Z in the Matrix sequels. You know, not the new one that's out now, but like those other two sequels. Remember those?
Kind of. I never saw them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they weren't really worth it. She was in that. There you go. Know-It-All Kid was voiced by Eddie Deason. And my God, this voice, woof. First of all, I'm like, well, that's a man voicing a child right away.
Yeah. But also that's a man dark voicing a child.
That is a
because
man
you can't hear
dark
that voice
voicing a child. Yes, I was like, wow, why does
and not
this
think of him.
Even though this is obviously a man doing the most annoying child voice possible, I'm like, why is this so familiar? It's because it's Mandark from Dexter's Laboratory. So there we go.
Yeah.
The voice of Billy, the only one, I guess, given a name in this entire film with who has like the least amount of speaking lines, was done by Jimmy Bennett, who is actually he portrayed a young James T. Kirk in the Star Trek reboot. You remember that first movie? He steals the hover car and he it's going off the cliff and he jumps off right as it goes over, and it's playing that Beastie Boys song where it's like, yeah, and he's jumping in the air in slow motion.
Yeah,
that's Jimmy Bennett.
Really, that was him?
Yeah, it's him.
Okay.
Yeah. He was also in a sitcom I watched for a little while, but it ended up being really cheesy, called No Ordinary Family. He played a character named JJ. That was really interesting. And then finally, the last person I'm going to mention here is the mother, who is voiced by Leslie Zemeckis, who's mostly done lots of live action, various roles in television and movies, but is actually the wife of director Robert Zemeckis. So there you go. There's your main cast. Oh, I guess I'll mention a cameo. You got Steven Tyler of Aerosmith as a elf, because I mean,
very noticeably.
Yeah, because it's like, of all the things, you could get through a movie completely without dating it, but why would you want to do that? Let's throw in a rock star that everyone already was trying to forget about. Let's put him in there.
So, for a few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of Polar Express cereal, in the North Pole City Communications Room, an elf described a bad little boy in New Jersey named Steven who is terrorizing his two little sisters. This line is a nod to Robert Zemeckis' friend and mentor, Steven Spielberg. Spielberg grew up in New Jersey and has admitted many times he frequently terrorized his two younger sisters.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Throwing a little jab at Steven.
Yeah.
The film is listed in the 2006 Guinness Book of World Records as the first all-digital capture film where all active parts were done on digital capture.
That's interesting. I never knew that. Very cool.
I think they did it really well, too. Like, I initially, when I had seen the previews for this movie, I wasn't that interested because, maybe I had seen it done before or whatever. Same. But being the first one, I think it was executed surprisingly well.
It's actually holds up better than a lot of stuff that's done even now, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So before the hero boy boards the Polar Express, the clock says 11:55, and the time doesn't change until the first gift of Christmas is given near the end of the film. So this is like a frozen portion of time, which also kind of explains how Santa delivers all those gifts. He just freezes time.
He freezes time. He's got superpowers.
Yeah, of course. Or something I'll get to in a minute. You'll see.
Uh-oh.
Hero Boy's real name is never mentioned. However, according to books containing information about the Polar Express, including art books and fact books, Hero Boy's name is Chris, after the novel's author, Chris Van Allsburg.
What's going on?
There you go.
Yeah, best name you could give a kid.
When the engineer and fireman are trying to grab the pin necessary for the train's throttle, a working flux capacitor is visible in the background. It's a reference to Back to the Future, since Robert Zemeckis directed that, and could mean the Polar Express is a functioning time machine.
Interesting. So it's not Santa that can control time. The Polar Express can cut through time.
Yeah. So I guess Doc Brown gifted them a flux capacitor at some point.
I like that idea. What if Doc Brown was actually a Santa at some point?
Oh, like it was his, like he took took up the mantle in a very Santa Claus-esque fashion.
Yeah, like he's the one that invented all the stuff, like the flying sleigh. I mean, there's tons of gadgets at the North Pole when we get there. Like it's all run on science stuff. It's not magic over there.
Could be. There are a lot of movies that I watched this year that involved different people taking over the mantle of Santa.
Yeah.
One being Tim Allen's Santa Claus. And I actually watched Santa Claus 2 last night, which was pretty fun. And then also Ernest Saves Christmas. Same deal. A new person has to take over as Santa. So that's not too far-fetched.
I watched one called, I think it was just called Snow. And it was this guy named Nick Snowden, who is the son of Santa Claus. And the first Santa Claus was a wizard who, hang on,
What?
He made a wizard angry and he got cursed. And then to break his curse, hang on, he has to like deliver presents and stuff to children and like his children after him bear the same curse basically for all eternity. And so this guy, Nick, is the next in line. But one of his reindeer escapes the North Pole and goes to a zoo in California where Nick falls in love with the reindeer's handler.
Does that break his curse?
No. They just fall in love, and then eventually she joins him in the North Pole. Guess what her name is, Joseph? Sandy.
Oh my god.
So she's going to be Sandy Claus.
Jeez. Why did you watch this? Where was this?
It's an ABC Family movie from like the early 2000s.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
And guess what? There's a sequel.
Of course there would be. So is it just Snow 2? The Snowing? What is it?
I don't know. But it is Snow 2 something.
Okay. So last Marshmallow, the movie is based on the book The Polar Express. Author Chris Van Allsburg also wrote Jumanji and Zathura, which I found interesting. I had no idea. So that's cool. This guy's done a lot.
Oh, it's called Snow 2 Brain Freeze. There you go.
Oh my God. That's worse. It should have been the Snowing.
Stars Tom Cavanaugh. He plays Nick Snowden.
All right. Well, I guess watch those if any of that sounded appealing.
You're going to have to watch them.
If you want to see a wizard curse bring about Santa Claus.
I just love that's the backstory.
yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah, that's amazing. But hey, if you're listening and you like wizards or curses or trains or Tom Hanks or kids without names, do us a favor and share this episode on social media or your favorite episode by slapping that jolly old share button on your favorite podcast app. And if you do feel inclined, leave us a review wherever you're able, like on Apple Podcasts, which we sometimes do read on our episodes, or Spotify, which is going to be allowing reviews here really soon in the future. We appreciate your support no matter what Joseph says.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, no matter what you say, we appreciate it.
So let's go ahead and just talk about the movie, like this Tom Hanks vehicle, literally.
Oh man, it basically was like, let's just get Tom Hanks to do as much Tom Hanks stuff as we can get, and he did that.
I think, I could hear Tom Hanks in most of the voices. I didn't know for sure if he was Santa or not.
He was,
but,
yeah.
So I think I know now, but I think he did a good job at least differentiating the voice there.
Yeah. All the other ones, it's basically just, he can sometimes sound a little bit different, but anytime he yells, it goes to default Tom Hanks yell.
It always goes into Tom Hanks yell. Yeah.
I'm going to let the cat out of the bag now. There's a lot of parts of this movie that I just don't understand or creep me out a little bit, in that I'm like, ooh, why? And like one of them is just like, I mean, we see Nameless Child, Hero Boy. He's pretending to be asleep, but he's not asleep. His parents are talking about how, the magic's almost over. He's not going to be believing in Santa that much longer, blah, 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 blah. We get that we hear that conversation that parents have, worrying that their kids, aren't going to be believing in that stuff more, and they're kind of bummed about it. But then this big old train shows up outside, and the kid's just like, well, I better go out there and see what this train's about. And like Tom Hanks is there in his conductor uniform and is basically like, I didn't see you in any photos with Santa this year. Get on my train. And I'm like, what a strange message. What a strange way to start this film. I didn't see you with Santa. Get on this train. And I'm like, that's creepy. I don't like it.
Well, he didn't see him with Santa. He didn't send Santa any letters, and he's trying to convince his sister that Santa isn't real. So this is his make or break moment for whether or not he's a true believer.
Yeah, I guess. But he didn't quite explain that, really. He was just kind of like, you better get on this train.
Well, I think he's got to be a little vague because it can't be a forced belief. I must have looked at this in a way different way than you did. And I mean, that usually is what happens, but I didn't look at it in a negative light at all. I was behind this movie.
You know
the whole
that
time.
I exist in a very cynical space.
Yeah, clearly.
Everything I look at is brown colored lenses.
Santa Claus exists in your hearts.
Yeah, in other places, like the mall.
Oh my gosh. Can we move on?
I'm trying to get into the spirit.
That's out of the spirit completely.
The train's just like fine, starts leaving. Kid's like, crap, I should have gotten on that train with that stranger. So he runs and catches up, gets on the train, gets yelled at a little bit by Tom Hanks. A lot of other kids on this train, including the most annoying voice you'll ever hear in your life.
Yeah. Mandark on the train. Also, then you have the little hero girl who is quiet at first, but is expressing interest in Hero Boy by staring at him, basically.
Yeah.
We're not sure why yet. And I guess I'm still not entirely sure why.
Yeah, me either. We get a nice song and dance about hot chocolate, where hot chocolate defies all laws of gravity, but it did make me crave hot chocolate.
The hot chocolate looked good.
Yeah, it did. It looked real like, I don't know, it looked real like sludgy going through the air, but then it was real liquidy again once it lands in your cup. It almost like reminded me of it, like it would be pure melted chocolate rather than
maybe it was just the chocolate melting down. Plus, as it was getting hotter.
Do you see the consistency of those chocolate mustaches they had? Those things were thick.
The train ride becomes pretty perilous and okay, I want to say this. I want to get this out of the way first. A lot of the problems were both caused and then resolved by the hero kid.
Yeah.
So yes, he's resolved a lot of these problems, but they were also happening because of him. So he put many children at risk, mainly the hero girl and Billy at risk because he either was trying to, initially, the first mistake he made was trying to help the hero girl get her golden ticket back because she had left it in her seat, and he knew that the conductor had been walking around checking them.
Yeah. You get a golden ticket that you just kind of magically appears in your pocket, and then the conductor punches all these holes in it to make different letters.
Yeah, it punches like 2 letters on everybody's ticket.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, she couldn't find hers, and he goes to try to get it, and then he loses it, which gets found by a pack of wolves, and then a bird, and then an eagle, and then it's a whole ride we take following this ticket.
The eagle feeds it to his baby, and then
pukes it up.
The baby pukes it up. And then it has like a Forrest Gump moment, like the feather where it's kind of floating down. Yeah. And then it makes its way back onto the train, which I thought was a really cool like transition of watching its entire journey. I thought that was pretty neat. And then once it gets back, though, it like sticks into the vent, and the other kid doesn't see it yet, so he's trying to give up his own ticket in place of that.
Right.
Also, in that, I don't remember. Right before that happens, the conductor comes and checks for the girl's ticket. She doesn't have it, so he has to take her to a different part of the train. So Hero Kid thinks that she's about to get kicked off the train, so he's again trying to help her get it, and eventually sees the ticket in the vent, grabs it, and tries to rush it towards her. But that starts another perilous journey all on its own, in which he runs into the hobo who's on top of the train. I'm not entirely certain what his character represents. I think it's like Ghost of Christmas Past sort of thing, if we're looking at it from like a Christmas Carol perspective, and or maybe future.
I've got theories on what the hobo represents. I'll talk a little bit more about it once we get through like kind of talking about the plot, if there is plot to this film. Just like, here's the thing. If you right now, if you haven't seen this movie and you're wondering, okay, so like you guys are talking about a few things that have happened, but what's the actual story? I don't know. We're just kind of watching things unfold. Like different scenes.
I think the actual story at the end of the day is trying to teach all these kids who have boarded the train different lessons.
Yeah.
Hero boys, of course, being to believe. And then we'll talk about the others as we get towards the end of the explanation. But I think they all just had something that they needed to learn around Christmas time. So
yeah,
I don't know that you need much more than that, but a lot of the padding is where the action is and what keeps it moving. Instead of just being from point A to point B, there's a lot of like zigzags.
It's kind of one of those things where it's like there wasn't a setup to know what type of story this would be. Like, is it a moral lesson? Is it an adventure? You know, anything like that. Is it about friendship? Is it coming of age? We had no idea till the movie was basically over and things are resolved. And then we're like, oh, okay, this is what it's about. Got it. So, like, there's payoff to things by the end of the film, but the route to get there was a little confusing for me, for sure.
Yeah, but I think that made it kind of a more exciting ride, literally and figuratively.
There was a lot of exciting things going on, especially because the train was, like, constantly almost crashing.
Yeah, yeah. It was a perilous journey, for sure.
For a train that's meant to house children, this is the most unsafe vehicle ever created.
And both the engineer and the conductor, not the conductor, the who's the one who drives the train?
Coal miner guy or...
Yeah, okay. So the engineer and then the guy shoveling coal, both of them seem pretty incompetent for what their actual jobs are, especially to keep these kids safe. The conductor, though, has the patience of a saint and is just this magical being. So he's keeping everything, in line, really.
Yeah, and they some of the things that happen is like they run into like there's like hundreds of thousands of caribou on the tracks. They go off the tracks at one point and skid along a bunch of ice, and then the ice starts breaking.
Oh man, yeah.
They go over like really winding like areas and stuff where it's like the train goes so fast it's like out of control, like the speed's out of control. Like it almost goes off the tracks a few times, like tipping over, like all kinds of stuff. Like anything bad that can happen on train almost happens on this train.
And that's the first half of the movie.
Yeah, basically.
The second half basically is when they get to the North Pole, and you think it's going to wind down from there. But then things pick up again, also because of the hero boy trying to... Okay, so Billy is sitting alone in the back cart.
Yeah, he's a sad kid.
Yeah, he's a sad kid. And the hero boy and girl go to retrieve him. But in doing so, the hero boy kind of steps on this like latch, trying to get up onto the train that releases that car from the rest of the train on a downhill slope, of course. And so they start to roll slowly downwards, go into this area where it's kind of like a switcher, a track switcher. And that is a whole nother adventure where they start going towards like the packaging portion of the area where they're packing all the presents. And then they get in the big pile of presents and have to dig their way out of that, or dig their way to the top of that, which is then flown very high by this like helicopter. It almost gets pierced by like the star on this Christmas tree. I thought that's what was going to happen.
I do like when they the three of them are in that big bag though. And like, just remember that only those three were on that train car that got derailed or that got detached from everybody else. But somehow, once they do end up in the giant bag of presents, they find the Mandark kid in there already rooting through presents, looking for his own presents.
Because he's just looking for his own stuff. Yeah. All I found was some underwear. Yeah. Oh, man.
That kid.
Even the other kids are surprised. They're like, you.
Everyone hates this kid.
Yeah. For
so
good
funny.
reason. He's terrible.
Like, how does he get presents? How is he on the nice list? This kid's terrible.
Honestly, okay, so what I don't understand, and maybe it could go two different ways. When they are like getting out of the presents and like about to like, slide down the giant bag to get down to where Santa is, the Mandark kid is confronting the elf and being like, I know how all this works and blah, blah, blah. And then the elf is like, you're not even supposed to be here. And I don't know if he means that he's not supposed to be there in the North Pole, like he just snuck aboard the train, or if he's just not supposed to be in the present
area,
bag. Yeah.
I don't know. But maybe he's not even supposed to be on the train. Like,
that's what I was thinking. I was like, he just found his way there.
Like maybe he's on the naughty list. He knocked out like another child, took his golden ticket, snuck on that train. Yeah, maybe. Like, he believes in Santa, but he believes in him like with ruthless abandon for everybody else.
Yeah.
What I did love is like the elves were cracking me up because the elves, like some of them were well, I mean, all the elves were just so aggressive, and like a lot of them were really mean, and
they're kind of funny.
I love the one with the really aggressive like New York accent, like the boss who's just like yelling at everybody. Like that was making me laugh so hard. He was probably my favorite character in this entire movie, to be honest.
He definitely had the most character as far as his line expressions go.
Yes, absolutely.
So what's going to happen is like they're going to all see Santa. Santa's about to come out. We're going to get that reveal, and he's going to introduce basically the first present of Christmas. So one of these kids is going to get to open the first present. Of course, Mandark Kid is trying to be like, Santa, pick me, and trying to like vie for his attention, to which Santa has to be like, dude, shut up, calm down, be patient, learn humility.
Santa hits him with a bag of coal.
Slaps him across the face. No, I wish, but that did not happen. Then he talks to all the kids individually, and then finally ends up on the hero boy, who he decides is the one who's going to get the first present, and he asks him what he wants. Ends up being a bell from the sleigh. Something else to explain is that once you stop believing, or once you start having your doubts about Santa, you no longer hear the sleigh bells. So when all the reindeer were coming out and everything, all the kids were cheering, the elves were cheering at the sleigh bells. Like, we were seeing it from the hero kid's perspective, where we could only see the people cheering and the reindeer coming out. We couldn't hear those sleigh bells. And so that was just indicative of where he was at that point. His request was to get one of the sleigh bells for a gift. So I guess just as a reminder. And Santa was very pleased with that. He's like, yeah.
Sure. Well, I was going to give you a PS5, but yeah, here's a bell
that's much cheaper.
Here's a bell that fell off my sleigh that I was just going to throw in the garbage. Here you are, kid.
Yeah, so he gets the sleigh bell, and then he's able to start hearing it ring because he believes now.
Yes, which he keeps saying, I believe. The children are the future. I don't know. I don't know what's happening right now. Then we saw our gross Steven Tyler elf who starts singing.
Ugh.
Yeah, he even looked gross. One thing that was weird to me about the scene with the with all the elves cheering as Santa was first coming out, though, and like the bell falls off and like they start slowing down time, and it's singing. It's it's doing that classic Christmas song, that old crooner kind of Christmas song. And it starts slowing down and stuff like that. And it starts, I'm not like, I've told you, there's parts of this movie that just seem strangely creepy to me when they're not supposed to. And that was definitely one of them. I'm like, what is this? Especially like the camera shot, if you can call it a camera shot, is like below the ice looking up at the bell, and then the kid reaching down to pick it up. And it's all like, slow motion and everything. And I'm just like, is there going to be like, I don't know, like a Christmas gremlin going to bust through the ice and pull him in, or what's going to happen here? Because that would be awesome. But I don't think it's that kind of movie. So there's some weird choices.
There were, but okay. So this is where after the gift giving, after all the celebration, this is when they start to get back on the train, because that's when time has started back up. Like 11:55. It had lasted until the first gift was given, and then like time started back up. It's like, all right, we gotta go. And they get back on the train, but one at a time, and they have to give their tickets back to the conductor to, punch out some more, the rest of the letters in whatever word lesson they were learning. The Billy's was to rely on people, to depend on people, and to count on people. And his kind of was magical because it kept changing. And then the girls was to lead, because she had this like leadership personality. And I really liked that they gave her that much power, and how Tom Hanks kind of saluted her as she went on.
Yeah, she had a lot of self-doubt earlier in the film, because there's a bunch of, there's several times where she needed to make a decision about something or be sure of herself, and she always was second guessing herself. But she was always right. Like her gut instincts were always right, even though she always doubted herself. So that was like her lesson that she learned along the way, was that, to go with her gut, to trust herself, to lead others. And yeah, that was really
Have
cool.
confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mandark's was basically to like slow the heck down, shut up. No, his was learn.
Yeah. Because all he's trying to do is spouting everything that he thinks he knows, but it's basically like, all right, be patient and learn instead of just spouting off whatever.
Yeah.
And even getting the ticket, he like misread it because his finger was over one of the letters.
He's like, lean?
Right up until the end, that kid was terrible.
The worst.
And then, so Hero Boys was to believe. And, we knew that the entire time that was going to be sort of the lesson he needed to learn was to believe in Santa, to believe in the spirit of Christmas.
And then like he gets on the train and all the kids are like, oh, show us the bell, show us the bell. Turns out he lost it immediately. It's gone.
Yeah. And you saw that coming because we saw way earlier that he had a hole in that pocket. And then we were like, when I saw him putting the bell in one of his pockets, I was like, don't be the one in the hole in it. And then I saw him do it and I was like, oh, that's going to come back. And then, so he loses the bell and he's just like, well, it is what it is. But luckily on Christmas morning, he gets it back as a gift with a letter from Santa Claus telling him he found it in the seat of his sleigh and blah, 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 to make sure to get that pocket stitched up.
I was going to say Hero Boys like ticket should have said like, I don't know, sewing. Or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, learn how to sew.
Check your pockets.
Check your pocket. Yeah.
Then we go into like Tom Hanks narrating the outro as the hero kid grown up. And he's talking about how once people stop believing, or, his sister and his friend just suddenly stopped believing and couldn't hear the sleigh bell anymore. But even into his old age, he still does because he's still a true believer, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a nice way that it just closes out with that sweet message. Looks like it's about time we send our inner kids on a trip aboard the midnight train to reaffirm their belief in the things they can't see, and maybe have them bring back some of that delicious hot chocolate. Then see what they thought of the Polar Express.
This movie looked really cool. It was so amazing with all these pretty lights, and it made you feel all nice and warm and fuzzy at times. And then at other times, I had no idea what was happening, which is a lot like real life. But at least this had Santa.
Why did you wait so long to show us this? I loved it. There's a kid at school who's already trying to convince me that Santa isn't real, but I know better. Stupid Jimmy and his stupid butt face. I hope he gets a big, smelly, steaming pile of coal in his stocking.
Speaking of coal, what doesn't look like coal is this film. This film was beautiful.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I can't get over how this was like one of the first films to be like completely CG as far as like
motion capture
and stuff like that, and still looks as beautiful as it does. And like even the characters aren't perfect, but even they look really good.
Yeah, like they're fine. I thought that I was going to have a lot of disconnect with it, with like some poorly done character CG or some uncanny valley issues, but I didn't get either of those, and I was pretty impressed by the final product.
Yeah, there's very few instances of uncanny valley for me. I think a little bit with the Mandark kid, some with the elves. That's it. But I mean, the elves weren't supposed to look completely human, so it's fine.
Right. And then the landscapes were just like beautiful. Like,
that was the landscapes
so well done.
Are so good. And one thing that I really like about this film too is just these golden hues of light that they use in like so many scenes. Like they use it to reflect off of everything, which really captures that kind of that warmth that reminds you of like a fire warming you from the snow, and it just gives everything this really whimsical glow. Like every window, every reflection like inside of the train interior has this golden kind of hue to everything, and it's just so warming and welcoming every time. And even Santa himself, when you see him, he's got a little bit of like that glow to him as well, just as a being. And yeah, there's just something about that makes you feel like really good.
Santa was very like surreal. I mean, as he should be, but he was almost like his voice kind of had like the echo of like a deity to it sometimes. It just like you could feel that powerful presence, and the way he was dressed too, like that was a like nicely dressed like stocky Santa.
Yeah, and he wasn't the traditional like like Fat Santa that you usually
No.
see. Like he was a lot more, I don't know how to describe it. Like his beard and everything, he wasn't big and bushy. He was like long and not really lanky or anything. He was just long and sturdy, you know?
Yeah.
It's the best way I can describe it.
exactly.
He felt tall.
But you could feel his presence even on screen. Like
Yeah.
I was excited to see Santa once once he actually came out.
Right.
And the plot of this too, like it wasn't that I was like actively avoiding this movie before or anything. It just didn't catch my attention initially. But after watching it, I'm a little disappointed in myself for not giving it a chance before. It ended up being like a surprisingly heartwarming tale and succeeded in filling my heart both with joy and Christmas spirit. So you can't really ask for much more from a Christmas movie.
So this is one thing that I wanted to bring up. One of these things that I really, really liked about it is actually the juxtaposition of the conductor and the hobo. And this was my theory about like what I thought that those characters kind of stood for. I mentioned the hobo earlier, but I think the hobo is sort of connected to the conductor because I think they're kind of the opposites of each other because, you know, the conductor is the one leading this train and everything. The conductor is on the inside. The conductor is with all of the children. He is in the warmth, the glow of the light. He is actively trying to get the children involved in the spirit of things, right?
Mhm.
And the hobo is on the outside of the train. He's in the darkness. He's isolated. And when Hero Boy does, you know, have that, you know, confronts him a few times, like runs into him, he tries to convince him that, you know, it's all fake, it's all a dream, it's not real. Do you believe in ghosts? Like this isn't a thing, you know, you're kidding yourself. And I think that what it is, it's almost like the temptation of this kid to either choose to believe or to not to believe. And it's basically like showing the two sides of the coin that of this path that the kid could go down. Like this kid could become like the conductor or could become like the hobo. He could become isolated and cynical and you know, just be in the darkness and sad, or he can give in and enjoy it and enjoy, you know, being surrounded by the spirit of the holiday and believing and, you know, the warmth of everything. And I could be dead wrong and be reading too much into it, but that's what I thought they were trying to convey.
I think that's a good read of it. And I think that would be backed up even by the fact that Tom Hanks did both of those voices. So it's almost like,
right,
which Tom Hanks do you want to be at the end of the day?
Yeah, exactly. And so when you were talking about like you mentioned something akin to like A Christmas Carol or something like that. I think that was more along the lines of, I think there was more of a nod to that in the marionette car, which we didn't really talk about, but at one point, he ends up in this car that's just full of marionette dolls, which was super creepy and awesome. But there's like a Scrooge marionette that like confronts the kid and yells at him and calls him a Scrooge for not believing in and stuff. I think that was sort of the moment of like the thing being in his face, making him confront, trying to tell him he needs to make a choice. That was sort of that, you know, the ghosts sort of moment, if we wanted to relate it to something, whereas like the two choices he could make are the conductor or the hobo.
And so it almost does have those three ghosts because we at least know that the hobo is a ghost, and then we can perceive the hobo guy conducting the marionette of Scrooge as him representing a different ghost, and then we can only assume that the conductor is as well, just going based off of, you know, what we're seeing from everything else. If we wanted to tie it more to the Christmas Carol, then that's how we can look at it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that whole part of it, that was my favorite part of the movie for sure, was just the idea of the hobo versus the conductor and all that stuff. I thought that was cool. Like the metaphor of it, I think was so spot on, so cool. That was to me the more, it was the thing that actually stood out to me the most about the film, as far as okay, this part I definitely understand what they're doing.
Yeah, so the most straightforward part.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, and I guess interesting also in that it wasn't that the hobo was necessarily trying to lead him astray, because he was still like trying to help guide him, but while also I guess, giving him that out if he wanted to take it.
Right. I mean, if you think about the hobo as almost like a version of the adult child, basically, if you think about him like that, it's kind of like hey, like, you don't need to believe in all this crap.
Yeah.
Like, I'm your way out. This could be a dream. It could be nothing.
Yeah, so that gave Hero Kid a lot of options there.
So I really liked that part of it quite a bit. What other stuff did you like about this film?
I mean, I talked about most of what I had liked, kind of interspliced with what you were talking about. The plot, especially, like, that was really heartwarming to me. I actually teared up a couple times, mainly towards the end, where it was like the kids were learning their lessons. And as I said, I really appreciated the part where they showed the ability of that little girl to be a leader. I think for multiple reasons, that's such a strong message to send to young women. And just all the other kids, Mandark aside, I think everybody had like their place and everybody had something that they could take from it. And I think that was expressed really well through this movie.
One other thing I just want to point out too is the cinematography of everything. So it's like, I mean, we talked about how like everything looked amazing and stuff, but it's like just how some of the shots were set up are awesome, because it's almost like point of scale is what they really nailed down. So like towards the beginning, when you first see the Polar Express, how huge it is compared to the Hero Boy when he first walks up to it. Like, he is minuscule compared to this thing.
Yeah, and because you're sort of getting the kid's perspective on that too, at a downward
Yes.
angle, looking up at this giant train.
And they do like the same thing when he sees Santa for the first time. Like, Santa looks so big and you're looking up whenever you're addressing Santa. And they could have easily have done a thing where like they're doing a visualization from the side and you're seeing like a tall Santa talking down to a small child, but instead you are from his perspective looking up at him. And I just think that the direction of all of this was so well done, and like the scale of everything just really added to the I don't know, like the mythos of everything, and just how fantastical everything felt.
Well, I think that works on multiple levels too, because no matter who you are watching this movie, you're seeing it from the same perspective that it's intended to be seen from, which is that of a child.
Yeah.
So even as an adult, we are brought down to that child's level, looking up at Santa, looking up at this giant train. So we're still getting that same perspective and hopefully learning that same lesson from it.
Yeah, which was such a smart way to do it. Getting into dislikes, what if anything did you not like about the film?
I'm going to say, we've talked about the Mandark kid, but really that was just what kept annoying me. And it's like, it's not this character is too far-fetched. Some kids are just like that. I mean, some adults are like that, like know-it-alls who have to interject for everything everyone's saying and feel like they're the ones in the right. People are like that. I get it. But it's just like every time he came on screen, I just groaned because I knew something was going to come out of his mouth that was going to just annoy me. And I was hoping that he was going to get like booted off the train or sent back home or something. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So we had to deal with him throughout the movie. But, the silver lining is like he didn't have that much of a role in the overall action of it or anything. Mostly it was focused on the other three kids, and he just kind of interjected every now and then. I don't know how it would have been without him, but I can only assume it would have been better, for me at least, more bearable.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There is several points of the film that I think could have been cleaned up a little bit, or at least expanded upon as well. I don't know. Here's my big problem is I got bored a few times in this movie because I don't think they established early on like what kind of film this was going to be. As I said before, for a while, it just felt like I was just kind of watching a series of events with no major plot points kind of picked out for me to kind of like know where things are heading or what to expect. Or, we didn't even have these kids' names to, establish more of a, I don't know, like a viewer relationship with those characters and stuff, which I get that what they were going for with that, but I don't think that always works. And, obviously it does work for some people, but for me, it did not work. I was just kind of like, I don't know that I really care about this kid that much. I think it could have been fixed if we we're given a little bit more to attach, especially to, the quote unquote hero boy kind of character, giving him a name, giving him a little bit maybe more reason as to why he's not believing, or just something else about his home life to relate to before all of the events start happening. Just a little something.
I agree with most of what you're saying, but I do want to say about the hero kid, I think him having that like vague introduction makes it even better because he's more of an every kid in that way. Like he doesn't have to have specifics that led him to not believing or having his doubts. I just think that's a route that most kids go through. And so it's easiest to relate to someone who's kind of a blank slate. That's kind of how I was perceiving it.
That's true. Like to me, that feels like something you'd run into like a video game where it's like your own thoughts and wonder are kind of filling in those gaps because you're making those decisions. But like in a movie, like for me, I was just kind of like, I don't know anything about this kid. I'm not that attached to him.
Gotcha.
But as far as like that Mandark kid, I agree. Like he was so obnoxious. But what I feel like could have been done, and maybe this is crazy, because I also feel like I liked the character of Billy, the only kid they decided to give a name. Billy didn't have a lot of lines and stuff. Because he was the shy kid, he was the really young shy kid. And I'm just wondering if those two characters could have been combined somehow. Billy's whole thing is he didn't have any friends. He didn't trust people. He didn't have friends. That's why he was supposed to learn to depend on. If they had combined those two characters somehow, because like he was so young that maybe he got on people's nerves or something like that, and they could have toned down the zaniness of the Mandark character and could have upped a little bit of the energy that Billy had, and just like, meet somewhere in the middle and combine those two into one. I don't know. Maybe that could have been something. I'm just kind of spitballing off the top of my head, but I feel like that could have cleaned it up a little bit, maybe.
I don't disagree with you there, because I think something that may have suffered from, because you were saying you were getting a little bored, and there were moments that did feel a little slow to me. I think this movie ran a little bit longer than it needed to. So on that, I think if we had combined the Mandark kid and Billy, like you were saying, then that could have cut down a lot of their separate scenes and made them into one, and maybe sped up some of the pacing where it started feeling a little slow. So I don't disagree with you.
And it was weird to me too that they did the whole like end story arc with the know-it-all Mandark kid at the end, but he was a kid we didn't follow through the whole movie like we followed the other three. So that to me felt really out of place. I don't know what you think of that, but
yeah, I don't feel like he learned anything either. He was still selfish up to the very end. So
yes, he was the only one that I feel like did not learn the lesson that was printed on his card towards the end, as the others did.
But I think that's also because, like you're saying, he wasn't in enough of the movie, enough of the pivotal scenes to have been changed. He just had a fine train ride and then got to visit Santa. Like it was a pretty basic trip for him.
Yeah, for him, he just got to do whatever. Like he didn't have to do any of the heavy work. He didn't have to learn anything. He just got to go on a train, go to the North Pole, almost die, meet Santa, and then go home.
Visit elves, yeah.
Yeah, get kicked by an elf.
Right.
That's great. So for a final review, this is what I'm going to say. I think it looks great. It evokes a very Christmas feeling of wonder, of nostalgia. But for me, it also unfortunately evoked a feeling of boredom at several points. But it doesn't mean it's a bad film. I just think that there were points that it did drag and it could have been cleaned up a little bit better. But like visually, this thing was immaculate. So I'm going to give this film 3.5 bowls of Ghost Hobo cereal out of 5.
I think for me, like the tale itself isn't anything super new. And oftentimes it felt a little bit like a less aggressive Christmas Carol. But no matter how many times or in how many ways this same message is passed on to me about believing, about the spirit of Christmas, it will always make me smile. And this one didn't fail at doing so. So overall, I'd give the Polar Express 4 big bowls of I've Got a Golden Ticket cereal out of 5. And wouldn't mind adding this to my regular rotation of holiday favorites, even if it's just on in the background, just so I don't have to bear with all of the slower parts too.
Along with Snow and Snow 2.
Yeah, of course.
The guy from Snow that I was talking about, he played. Did you ever watch Scrubs back in the day?
Yeah, I do remember Scrubs.
He was the guy that played JD's older brother that would show up from time to time.
Oh, okay.
And then the woman, Sandy, was one of the potential mothers on How I Met Your Mother. One of the many girls that Ted dated, and then it didn't work out. She was the Baker girl. I think her name was Victoria.
I've seen that show, but I don't remember specifically.
Yeah, he almost caused her to not marry somebody at one point, and then was like, this is a bad idea. You should go get married. Speaking of Christmas.
So thank you, John and Sarah, for suggesting this to us. Definitely was a blind spot in my Christmas media, but one that I will most likely rewatch for years to come.
Yeah, you could say that your holiday viewing experience had been derailed.
I could, but I won't.
I'm sorry. Thank you, John and Sarah.
Yes. Well, listeners, looks like our milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And in 2 weeks, instead of watching a cartoon, we're going to be doing our 3rd annual Spoonie Awards, where we hand out awards to various cartoons that we watched throughout the year and rank them based on how we like them.
Or didn't like them.
That too.
So thanks for another year of listening and support. We very much appreciate it.
Once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
And we'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth.
A place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.